Hello and welcome to a quick course on BMC components of NGT. Chad Reber here, a BMC DB2 software consultant. For the next few minutes, I will be showing you what components make up an NGT utility. This will give the user a better understanding of the technology behind any BMC NGT utility execution. To understand the components, let's start with what you would execute if you want to run an NGT, reorg, load, or unload. How do you execute NGT? It all starts with the execution statement. What is included in this execution statement are three key components: the DB2 subsystem ID you are going to run against. The UID or utility ID you enter will keep progress of the utility running against a particular DB2 object and will assist and allow restartability. Last key component is the restart parameter. Many of the components we will discuss in this course will directly be in support of restarting the utility if something goes wrong. Next up in the JCL is a component that can assist in the way the NGT utility executes. NGT automation points are a series of rex execs that can control many areas of utility executions. At different points in the process, these automation modules are executed within the utility. To control processes like dataset creation, what parameters should be set in the utility, and even if the object should be processed. Where these rex modules reside is passed to utility process via the CDB exec DD statement. If you don't specify a CDB exec statement, there are default automation points that come with the product. With all DB2 utilities, we are always coding syntax or passing parameters. With NGT utilities, there is no difference. With NGT, we have syntax, but there are also utility parameters which control execution. Some third-party products have default options. BMC Plus utilities had default options or DOPs. With NGT, we call them parameters. These parameters are set during installation and customization as default. Users have the ability to change these default parameters at execution times via DD statements in the JCL. There are a few specific options that are not available to be changed in the job, but for most part, all parameters can change at execution. There are global parameters which control execution of all the NGT utilities, global to the technology. Then there are utility-specific parameters, for example, reorg index and reorg table space parameters. Parameters must start with a plus sign. That is why we typically call them plus parameters. Finally, the utility syntax itself. Here we are doing a reorg for all table spaces in the BMC TST DB database. Please refer to the appropriate NGT manual to see all the syntax that is available. But as mentioned before, there are NGT automation points and plus parameters that can avoid specifying all the syntax you might be required to code with other DB2 utilities. This diagram is what we just went over. The input to the JCL, represented in the middle box here, is the NGT automation points passed via the CDB exec DD, and the plus parameters or NGT global or utility parameters passed in the appropriate DD statement. Any parameter not specified in the JCL will use the default value set up by the system programmers. Once the JCL is submitted and executed, NGT utilities will create a number of datasets specifically for the execution and also use some existing datasets set up at install time. NGT work datasets are used by the process you selected, for example, reorg. Out and info datasets are used for output and information of that reorg, Work is used to process the object or objects you ask the utility to execute on. RGTS is used for the image copy that might accompany the reorg itself. Below that, the NGT work datasets, you see potential datasets that can be created or just put out in a sysout report. What objects have been selected is in the OBJ report. Summary provides a summary of the utility. Runstat report is just that. CDB print is the main output from the reorg in this case. And lastly, log PDS. Log PDS is a shared data set. It contains information if the utility abends. Many times if you need to call support for an issue with NGT, the support personnel will ask for the log PDS member for the execution of the failed utility. The other data set that is very important on this page is the NGT checkpoint data set. This has many uses, but does make sure that there are no other utilities running on the object you selected to be processed. Also, it is used for restart, as it maintains what phase of the reorg you are in and where you can restart from when you want to restart. The last component on this page is CDBSS. This is a started task that must be up and processing before any NGT utility is run. As you are aware, all the NGT utilities can run in an online mode. So to allow full read-write access during the process and capture changes that are going on in the environment, CDBSS is engaged to capture the application changes and maintain data integrity for the DB2 objects until the process is complete. Putting the whole picture together is shown here. The next topic to discuss is how NGT can scale to the large DB2 databases of today. This is NGT server technology. With NGT server technology, the user submits the NGT master job, which is the JCL we just spoke about. Optionally, this master job can spawn additional server jobs that can process additional objects, partitions, or processes needed by the master request. The server jobs are produced without any user interaction. The job card is designed and customized beforehand, and when a server job is necessary, NGT will submit the server for you. All server jobs end with a 0 condition code, and any output, reports, errors are relayed to the master job where it will be printed in the reports we talked about earlier. The master job typically drives only a few server jobs. This slide shows those server jobs do not need to be on the LPAR the master is running on, but can go to other LPARs where data sharing members might be located. The number of server jobs are controlled by the global parameters, so you can use the default settings or change on a job-to-job basis. I would like to take this moment to thank you for your time. BMC NGT performance has shown in many customer accounts to allow reorgs to run where they were not possible in the past, providing additional availability to applications where there was a planned outage because older technology was a way of life. This quick course was built to describe the components that make up the NGT process. If you need further information or product documentation, please refer to the BMC support website. Thank you.